A thread from Carlos Osuita. At Expos Forever shows us how leftists plan to win the election. I got an earful of this a couple of nights ago when a New Yorker called me to falsely claim that he has COVID-19. This appears to be a Canadian, which explains a lot. And then the tweet is from Vrai Montrealer, Expos Forever, blah, blah, blah. Enough of the made-up issues based on circumstance. Cuomo is a true leader who cares about it and fights for the people. Your big daddy Trump could not give a flying fuck about you. Only getting your vote, chump. End of tweet. Democrats we're gonna lose anyway, but now the whole country sees that they're willing to kill us in order to win. Donald Trump is working on this day and night. The Democrats are obstructing him and blaming him for their own failures. It appears that leftist governors don't know how anything works. Trump had to tell them to buy their equipment at the points of sale because if they ask the feds to do it, that means inserting another unnecessary step. But the feds will make sure that the funds are available. This is what happens when governors lose their minds over social justice and climate change. Everyone needs to get down on their knees and give thanks that Trump is president. His 40 years in commercial real estate trained him for just this day. Are you aware of Jared Kushner's campaign strategy in 2016? He rated electoral votes on their value. It wasn't raw numbers of votes. Kushner used his own experience to figure out which votes were unexpected by Hillary and had the most value for Trump. That's why he chose states that nobody thought Trump would even bother trying to win. It was a classic business strategy. All businesses have competitors, so the successful business rates potential purchases according to the maximum value to the company. Too many American corporations go out of business because they mindlessly expand. When you expand, comparable to garnering electoral votes, you need to take into account how much it will cost and what actual value it brings to the company. Look at all the giant mergers that failed. This is because the CEOs know nothing about the field. I went to high school with Michael Linton. He is the former president of Disney's Hollywood Pictures, CEO of Pearson Picks Penguin Group, CEO of AOL Europe, president of AOL International, president of Time Warner International, chairman and CEO of Sony Pictures Entertainment, and CEO of Sony Entertainment. Michael spent his entire career overseeing the marketing of film and music. He has no training whatsoever in film and music, so he ran every single one of his companies into the ground. Sony had to bring in Amy Pascal to serve as co-chair, but finally reality sank in and Michael was let go. He's gone into book publishing, and he was hired as chairman of Snapchat after his wife sent an email to customer service. Michael was a big cheese in our high school, but it was the kind of big cheeseism that today's leftist governors are displaying. They don't actually know the nuts and bolts of how to be governors. You can get really far in life on a pedigree, but pedigrees don't equate to qualifications. Trump did manual labor on his father's construction sites, so he learned everything there is to know about his industry. By running an international commercial real estate company, Trump acquired all the skills necessary to be a successful president. What's happening now is that the lack of factual knowledge that characterizes leftists is biting them in the patootie. All they can do is throw tantrums. Here's a question. People decry Trump's lack of eloquence. Well, Tucker Carlson is a smooth talker. What does it say about him that he mispronounces words all the time? And I mean, he pronounces them in ways I've never heard before. As a culture, too many of us admire the trappings of knowledge instead of actual knowledge. People oppose something based on tedious black and white arguments that have no place in modern society. I just had someone tell me that virtually all of federal government is unconstitutional because it isn't specifically defined in the Constitution. Well, the European Union Constitution spells out everything. It's 70,000 words, the length of a novel. The U.S. Constitution is 4,543 words. These strict constructionalists are not arguing in good faith. They just want to present themselves as smarter than everyone else. But what happens when I myself know more about the Constitution than they do? For example, the Second Amendment. Quote, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Those who oppose guns say that the Founding Fathers could not envision semi-automatic rifles such as the AR-15. No. All the Founding Fathers knew about semi-automatic rifles because they'd ordered them for the Continental Army. The Belton flintlock. It fired 8 rounds without reloading. The founders understood completely that society and technology would change, so they created a system that allows for changes within the framework of the Constitution. Laws have to pass constitutional muster. It's not a case of saying if it isn't mentioned specifically in the Constitution, the feds shouldn't be doing it. We can look back to Europe for how things would be if the states handled counterterrorism. European countries don't communicate with each other when it comes to terrorism. Imagine trying to track terrorists in a country in which the states all have different laws and surveillance apparatuses. It wouldn't be possible. As we become more successful and prosperous, leftism and paleo-libertarianism will become tiny cults of people who bitch endlessly but don't matter in any way, shape, or form. The thing to remember is that these people will never be satisfied, so you can safely ignore them. Their goal is to pose as superior and to insult. Good for them. Have at it, kids. The best is yet to come. You'll miss out, but that's your choice.